Good afternoon, Stacie.
Good afternoon, Peter.
So, in this COVID interview, I'm speaking with Stacie Nichols, who is the head of drama and media at Freiburg, as well as looking after the Salamander and the Student Council, and was right in the middle of producing a major production. So
Yeah.
it's been a change for you. So, just like to share who's in your bubble and how you found lockdown so far.
So in my bubble is my husband Aaron and my two dogs, Archer and Cooper, so quite a small bubble. It's been incredibly unusual actually being in lockdown. I think the transition from seeing hundreds of people in a single day to spending the majority of time alone or with one other person is quite a shock to the system. And I suppose for me, it's been like a weird and wonderful oscillation between the comfort of slowing down quite significantly for me, actually, being in the middle of a major production, and being in your home and working at your own pace and adjusting your priorities. A lot of baking's gone on for the first time in a long time. But also, I found that I've just been incredibly bored, and of things that I've never really thought I'd be bored of before, like watching films. There's only so many films you can watch before you're bored of watching films, so yeah.
So, in this online environment, in terms of the teaching and learning, what have been the highlights for you?
So in terms of teaching and learning, the relationships, I think, have been really core to what we've been doing, and having those relationships and then continuing to develop them with the students in this new way, and trying to maintain these in this weird crisis. So I think it's been nice to be able to communicate with students about their reality and for them to articulate this to their teachers so that they can understand, you know, what's really going on for them in terms of their well-being, or for some of them work life. They're essential workers, so they're out there on the front lines, or their academic life. So I think getting to know them a little bit more in their situations given a nice insight. Also, you know, building those relationships and maintaining them. Basically, at the moment, they're having to invite us into their homes, which is, you know, quite unusual for them. And so it's been quite nice to have those relationships enable for them to feel comfortable doing that. And another teaching and learning thing is kind of the flexibility, I suppose. I quite like the flexibility. And at the beginning, you know, right from the beginning, we've had to be incredibly flexible. And I think that around how every individual engages, you know, when and how they engage. And I think in the, you know, the educational ether, there's been a lot of conversation about asynchronous learning. So what's meaningful for them? When's it meaningful for them based on their whānau? And I think one of the greatest things about this is having the flexibility to do that for yourself, but also allowing the flexibility for your students to do that as well, and being realistic that we might not all reach the same goals in the same time or in the same way, but that's okay as well. So I suppose it's a new experience in terms of, you know, each student kind of engaging with their learning in their own way, and also, you know, engaging with us in a new way as well. So that's been quite cool.
I guess my main question to you is drama. I mean, if there was ever going to be a subject where you don't normally sit at a desk and do things by yourself, it's drama. So what's worked for you in teaching drama?
Yeah, it's definitely been unusual. We've been trying, you know, we've from the very beginning have been trying to balance the theory with the practical, and trying to engage students in actually getting up in their own environment and doing some drama as it looks like in the classroom. You know, that can be quite daunting. You know, you create actively a safe space for students to do that at school, where there's a community around them that have the same willingness to participate. And I can imagine, you know, even for us when we were creating our lip syncs for the Beauty and the Beast Facebook page, it's quite unusual to put yourself out there in front of people that might not normally see you perform in that way. So it's balancing the theory and the practical. We've had to really look at the assessments we offer and and looking at providing solo opportunities as well, so that we can balance kind of, yes, we are prioritising learning, but we're also very aware of the fact that for some of the level 3 students in particular, they have goals that they are trying to meet. And so looking at solo performances, which again is a new thing. So yeah, it's been very interesting to kind of facilitate that. I've had students take photographs of themselves during different activities and post them on the OneNote, which has been cool. I've had students take videos of themselves and put them in the OneNote of them performing in different ways. I've done 2 lots of digital feedback, just like this, where I had Arlo McMillan the other day, actually. He is, you know, quite tech savvy, as we know, and he performed an entire monologue for feedback, just like we would in the classroom. So he sat in his space performing in front of the camera, and I gave him, you know, feedback as we went. So there's been ways around it. It's definitely not the easiest thing. I think the hardest thing to kind of mitigate is that group aspect of drama. Drama is very community based. So I think more than anything, it's about, I think we miss our community, all of us. So yeah, well, we're figuring it out.
And what about some of those other things you're involved with? How's things happening in the Salamander, and what is happening with Beauty and the Beast?
Oh, I think that one of the things I've been most impressed with over this time period is the incredible resilience that our students are showing. And that I don't think students understand how much strength it takes to actually even log on and try some of the teaching and learning activities, let alone do some of the innovative stuff that they're doing to reach out to their communities. The Salamander is just, the online Salamander is, I'm just so proud of them. They, you know, it's beautiful, as it, you know, and they're just, all of those ideas are their own. You know, they've set up the group chat. They put the posts up. I might check one here and there, but you know, everything is their own. The student council have been doing amazing things with the videos. Have you seen the Anzac ceremony, the video that they did to begin with, the house competitions and the communities they're building on those Facebook pages? And I just think if we look to our students, we can be inspired that they're able to rise to such overwhelming challenges. And in terms of the Beauty and the Beast, we just don't know yet. It all depends on, you know, what everything looks like. At level 2, we're not allowed to have gatherings, or previously when the guidelines were around indoor gatherings at over 100, I think, is not ever optional in level 2. So even if we went to level 2, that would pose significant issues for us having our audiences with us. So we're waiting to see what's best for making sure that not only our students get the opportunity, but our community get the opportunity to share in that. So you will know as soon as we do.
And do you think what we've gone through is going to change education moving forward?
I think it's a really hard question to answer, because at the moment, what we're dealing with is creative solutions to a crisis, basically. But do I think we can take learnings from this period in education? Absolutely. I was thinking about it earlier, and I actually think the learnings for the most part were already there. You know, there's a huge amount of research in the education sector about closing the digital divide and the power of blended e-learning and asynchronous learning and radical connectivity and all of those things that, you know, people have been talking about and looking into, and student-centered learning. And I think possibly what this has done is brought to the kind of mainstream what was initially conceived as radical, and it's not so radical anymore. It just is what it is. So I think I'd love to see this bring about some change. We have to take the learnings with the context in mind, and we also might have to resist the urge to return to the normal just because it's comfortable, because I know that could be something that we do, is that you get back into the classroom and then it feels like it's like riding a bike, because it feels normal and natural. So if we're going to do it, we'd have to really think about what were the best things that came from this situation, and how do we apply them in a context that isn't full of, debatably trauma. So yeah.
And what are you looking forward to most about getting back to the school?
Oh, just working with the students and my colleagues again in the physical environment. I think that I miss discussions with the media students. We always have those moments, if ask any of my previous media students, where, we're writing on the board and we're getting really, big ideas and perceptive conversations happening. And there's like those breakthrough moments that you have when you're all bouncing off one another. And that can happen in an online environment, but it doesn't necessarily have the same vibe. And I think for drama, it's being creative and watching rehearsals, but actually directing again. I really miss directing, I think. So we're holding very tightly onto the fact that we might have productions in term 3 for my drama classes, in the hope that, we'll get to flex our directing skills again. But I think genuinely just to hang out with some awesome human beings.
And you personally, what's your number one thing you want to do when you leave lockdown?
See family. I think most people would say that is to go and visit their extended family. I have the new edition of Mr. Eli up in Auckland with my younger sister, who's just had her first child. So it'll be nice to see him. He's learnt how to roll over and laugh hysterically in the time that we've been in lockdown. So we feel like we're missing out on some key developments there. But I think selfishly also shopping, maybe, like going to the shops and having that experience again. Because as my husband says, when I say I'm bored, he's like, what are your hobbies? And I'm like, shopping. So
there you go. Well, thank you for joining me this afternoon, Stacie.
It's all right. Thank you.
And as you know, my challenge to you now is to find one of your students who you can get their perspectives from one of these interviews. So
okay. Thank you.